It's a great joy for me to be here and have an opportunity to talk about the new book that is being released. As you're all aware, the last 2-3 years have been very, very difficult with the pandemic all around the globe. We've all been centered in our own places and stress and strain came to each and every one, whatever part of the world they were living at. In the last 10 to 15 to 20 years, there's been a lot of talk about detoxing the body. We all hear about the liver cleanses and the kidney cleanses, and we as human beings have been trying to make sure that our body functions properly. Anything that happens in the body, we relate as if it's happening to us. So any pain in the body, any discomfort in the body, and as we age, as some of the knees are not working as well, some of the other parts of the body are not working as well. So through the naturalists, there's been this trend to detox the body because there's so many toxins that have come in. We live in an age where we've gone away from all natural things, and so with the GMOs of things happening, with preservatives in the food, the thought is that whatever we're eating is leaving some toxin, some pollution in the body, and if we don't cleanse ourselves well, that the body will not function. As more pollutants come into the human body, that the human body won't function as well. And so there's been this great thrust in trying to detox the body. In reality, we all are looking to be happy. No one wants any pain in the body, no one wants any difficulties in the body. We all want to live lives which are peaceful, calm, happier for us. And so the first thing that we relate to ourselves is the body. So we feel if the body is going to work properly, all other parts of our being are going to be okay. But by doing the liver cleanses and the kidney cleanses and whatever the cleanses are out there, it's not that we got truly to be peaceful and calm and happy and fulfilled. And so during this pandemic, a thought came to me, and I was thinking, we are all working to fix the body. What else is needed to make ourselves happy, peaceful, content, joyous? And so the thought came, why don't we figure out what is it that is bothering us? Unless we know the problem, it's very difficult to find a solution. And so as we start to dig into that area, the realization sets in that there's stress, there's tension, there are difficulties that are coming to our being, not only to the body, but through our mind and then through our soul. And as we start to look at what is polluting our mind, we start to find out that we're worried. We're worried about the past, we're worried about the future. Thoughts come to us one after another. Why did this happen? Why couldn't I do something better for myself? What is going to happen in the future? Are my children going to be okay? Am I going to be living well as I age? Constant thoughts of worry. And they bring fear into our being. And as we are fearful, we start to have panic attacks. One thing after another, which then puts us in a depressive mode. And we start to feel as if life is never going to get better. And as soon as we get into that spiral, it is very difficult to get out of it, because then constantly we're thinking, oh, this will not work, and this will not work, and this will go wrong, and that'll go wrong. And then all of a sudden we realize that nothing is bringing joy to us. Also, as we look at our lives, we find many times we get jealous of others. People that we live with, maybe we feel are doing better than us. Grass is always greener, on the other side. And so, also, as we pass through life, we feel that because of our ego, because of us thinking to be better than everyone else, because of us thinking that we are the ones who are doing all the right things, everyone doesn't know what they're talking about, we have prejudices that come into our life. And then we're very intolerant of everyone else who's not like us. Let's say we believe in a faith, so we feel everyone who follows our faith is right, the other people don't know what they're doing. If we live in a certain social status, we feel everyone that status is good, everyone who's outside is not good. If we wear one kind of clothes and we see someone else wearing another kind of clothes, we think something different about them. And we become intolerant of others who are not like us. And as we also look at our life, we find that as we're passing through life, greed, we want to get more, attachment to what we have, and if what we feel is ours is taken away from us for any reason, whether it's a loved one who passes away, whether it's some property that we lose, whether it's something else that happened to us, then we're devastated. So all of these are putting a lot of stress and strain on our being. And as we try to find out what is keeping us from being truly content and fulfilled and happy and joyous, it is all these pollutants which are associated not with the body but with the mind. But the effect is that these pollutants on the mind are giving us pain in the body also. Today, doctors and scientists have all, through their researches, come to the conclusion that there is a body-mind connection. That the stress in the body comes from the stress of the mind. And so, I thought it might be very interesting to see how do we detoxify the mind. Since the source of the trouble in the body is coming from the mind, if we could fix the source, then we would be able to have the body work well, and we'll be able to be calm and peaceful. So the book has many sections. I think the first section is focusing on what are the pollutants that can pollute our mind. The next section, I think, is focused on what do we do to get rid of these pollutants? How do we deal with them? And then after each chapter, there are some exercises that one can do to be able to deal with a certain area and find out results for ourselves. I truly believe that unless we do something for ourselves, we don't gain anything. If we listen to something, we hear something, unless we've done something ourselves, we won't gain. And so I've tried to put some exercises into the book so that people can do the exercise for themselves and get the results for themselves, tabulate the results and see if that helps you. As we do the experiment, as we do the exercises, then only we start to know what the results are. And it's the tabulation of the results which will really make us do things better. So to be able to gain something, I feel just reading a book is not very important. It's how do we put it into our own lives. If we read something, unless we put it in and use it, we don't benefit from it. And that's the reason putting some of these exercises in the end of each chapters. Also, I think there's a section of as we deal with removing these pollutants, what would make our lives happy and joyous? Because as we look at our lives, if we're not happy, if we're not peaceful, then life is not worth living. And we need to be living in a state in which we feel fulfilled with our life. If you're always thinking, I have to do this, I have to do this, this is not done, this should have been done, I have to achieve this, I never got to do this thing, then there's always turmoil in our body. And the more turmoil, the less stability. So we need to be peaceful, we need to be calm, we need to be in equilibrium with the environment. And the environment is set by the Creator, by God. And God the Creator is all conscious, all loving, all caring, all peaceful, all joyous. And so we need to also attain those states. And so there are some meditative techniques which have been put in the book so that we can reach those states. One of the examples that I really like, I'd like to share with you, as an example of why it is so difficult to be calm and peaceful. Why is it so difficult to sit still and meditate? Why is it difficult to be in like a surrounding of peace and calm so that we can also be peaceful? So this is an example about a teacher, and this teacher was teaching a group of students to learn how to concentrate. And so they're learning how to concentrate, to improve their concentration. And a week goes by, another week goes by, another week goes by. One of the students in the class asked his friend, "Have you really become expert at concentration?" He said, No, it's very difficult to concentrate. So his friend, who was a smart person and thought that he was very smart, said, "Oh, yeah, you guys are dumb. How can you not concentrate?" So he said, "Take me to your teacher so that I can find out why is this process not helping you get better and better and better." And so his friend takes him to the teacher, and this smart young man is now discussing with the teacher as to why all the students or his friend in the class feels it's so difficult to concentrate. So the teacher asks him, "Okay, I'd like you to do an exercise." And the teacher says, "I'd like you to take a paper and a pencil, and I want you to go to a pond. Find a pond any place and go there. I want you to sit down there and look in the water and draw your picture." So the guy thought that's very easy, there's nothing difficult to do. He said, "Oh, yeah, I can do that very easily." And as he's leaving, the teacher said, "I want you to do one more thing. As you're sitting there, drawing the picture, I want you to take a sack of pebbles with you. Every time you have a thought, throw a pebble in the pond." The young man thought that won't be very difficult. So he goes there, he takes a sack of pebbles, he takes a piece of paper and pencil and some kind of board, and he's ready to draw his reflection in the water. Goes to the pond. As soon as he sits down, he's looking down to look at the reflection, and all of a sudden he has a thought about what he did yesterday. And he remembered, he got a thought he had to throw a pebble in the water. As soon as he throws the pebble in the water, the waves in the water start to go. His reflection is distraught. So he can't draw that. So he's trying to wait for the water to get calm. But before it gets calm, another thought comes to him. I have an appointment with my accountant. The tax bill is coming. He throws another pebble. There's a new set of waves that come in. And before they calm down, some other thought comes in. I need to take my children to the doctor's appointment. Another pebble goes in. And all day long he's sitting by the pond and he has no way of drawing his picture. He comes back the next day to the teacher, and teacher says, "Show me your drawing," and there's nothing that he could show. And then he realized that what kind of pollutants thoughts can bring into our life. And so as we look at our life, we find that there are many things that are happening not at the physical level, at a mental level, at an emotional level, which then bring thoughts into our being, which then are creating difficulty for us to concentrate. And this is what happens as we sit down to meditate. Meditation is a very simple process, but very difficult to put into practice. Easier said than done. To meditate, to calm ourselves, we need a calm environment. At this time, we're operating through our physical senses. See, our sense of sight, a sense of hearing, a sense of smell, a sense of taste, and a sense of touch. These are the 5 senses through which we operate. The scientists are telling us that about 83% of what we do happens through a sense of sight. So that's a predominant sense. So we say, I saw that myself, it is true. Because I saw it. Nothing can change that. I saw it myself. 14% of what we experience is through a sense of hearing. That's the next dominant sense. So we say, oh, I heard it. Can't be wrong. My ears heard it. You said this thing. That has to be true. Only 3% of what we experience through a sense of smell, taste and touch. And so, through these senses, what is happening is that our attention, which is the outer expression of our soul, is going out into the world. Now this world, the saints have said, is a world of Maya, or a world of illusion, because when we look back into the teachings of all great saints and mystics, and when we look back into our faith, they talk about spiritual regions, regions beyond the physical. And there's different divisions that different traditions do about the regions beyond the physical. Someone might say there are 22 regions of quietness, someone says there's 7 regions or 8 regions, other people say there are 5 regions. But many people believe in 5 regions of existence: the physical, the astral, the causal, the supercausal, and such kind of the region of all truth. They are all more conscious than ours. Such kind of the region of all truth being where there's no adulteration of matter. The physical region, or the region of pin, being one where there's matter with very little consciousness in it, and the consciousness that we find here is our souls, which are giving life to this body. And so, as our attention is going into the world outside, and all we are inputting into our system is that which is made of matter, so then we are polluting our system on a daily basis. And this is what is called coverings on our soul, the grime and the dirt that is on our soul. And unless we detoxify the mind and cleanse that, we're not going to be able to detoxify our soul. Because there are layers and layers of mind, matter and illusion which are covering our soul. Now if we can remove those layers of mind, matter and illusion, our soul is in its pristine beauty. And our soul is conscious, it's a part of God, it's full of the love and light of God, it's peaceful, it's joyous, it's happy, it's fulfilled. And so the key is to be able to remove this pollutant. So through meditation we are able to do that. But to meditate, like I said before, to find a quiet place is very easy. We can find any place in the house which is quiet. Okay. So sense of hearing is withdrawn. A number of people can sit together and meditate. There's no limit to the number of people sitting together. But we want to make sure that no part of our body is touching the person next to us, because if they move, we would be distracted. So sense of touch is withdrawn. We're definitely not going to eat as we meditate, so a sense of taste is withdrawn. And then we believe that God created all creation. Every place is holy. We don't need to sanctify the place. We don't need to light agarbattis or perfume it well or something, or make it more religious, because we feel God has created this creation, so everything from God is good. So there's no need to change the atmosphere so that your sense of smell is not being withdrawn to the world outside. So these 4 are very easy. We find a quiet place, we're not changing the atmosphere, we're not going to eat, we're not touching anyone, and then we close our eyes, and the 5th, the predominant sense, is also now withdrawn. As soon as that happens, as soon as we close our eyes, when we close our eyes, we should make sure that our eyeballs are straight. Many people, because we know that the seat of the soul, or the single eye, or the third eye, or the Divya Chakshu, or the Shiv Netra, or the Dasmadwar, right here between and behind the 2 eyebrows, we have a tendency to raise our eyeballs. Please don't do that. If you do that, you'll put pressure on your forehead, which will generally culminate in a headache. So if you think from a mechanical point of view, if you try to raise them here, you're going to put pressure here, Because what you're going to experience within is not with these eyeballs. These eyeballs are only to experience that which is made of matter. We want to experience that which is more conscious. And so we just close these eyes so that there's no distraction from the world outside. That's the only reason to close our eyes. And as we close our eyes, what happens to all of us is that all of a sudden all kinds of thoughts come to us. Things that we never thought about also start to come as soon as you start to meditate. What happened yesterday, what are you going to do tomorrow, all your meetings, all your whatever else is happening in your life. As soon as the thought comes, your attention goes to the thought. So the key is to get to a state where you can control the thoughts. Now a lot of research has been going on in this area. To me, saints and mystics are researchers of the soul. We've got all these scientists who are researching matter. Like we're breaking matter down to find out what is the smallest element which is making matter. And today we got quarks, and we got 12 quarks. When we were going to school, we thought electron, protons and neutrons were the smallest things. But today they have broken it down more, because we as human beings are trying to find out what is that makes us sick. And so we're doing a lot of research into matter to find out how does everything work. But then there are researchers of the soul, and these are what the saints and mystics have been doing. They've been sitting in meditation, they've been trying to figure out what is it that connects us with the divine, what is it that makes life peaceful. And what is very interesting is that the realization set in that thoughts which are coming to us are coming from our mind. We need to figure out a way of dealing with these thoughts. Many of us who maybe taken science in school know that if you go to a science lab, if you see mercury in a test tube, it's never still, it's always shaking. So the mind is always doing something. And if we think that we will control the mind, it's not possible. So what do we do other? If we can't control something, what do? We befriend it. We don't fight with it. We try to use its characteristics. And we know the mind is habitual, repeatable. If you give it something to do, it reminds you something to do. Let's say you tell the mind, I need to go and do something at 7 o'clock every morning, it reminds you. So the mind is very habitual. And so what we do is we try to take the mind, because we want to have a conscious experience, because we want to find a connection with the divine, we want to experience God. We focus the mind on God. Now we don't focus the mind by repeating God's name out loud. If we would use the tongue to repeat God's name, then what will happen is our attention will go outside because we'll hear it. So we do a mental repetition of God's name. So we take the energy of the mind, and instead of the energy of the mind going into thoughts, we redirect that energy, and we redirect it towards God. And so a common technique which is used by many traditions is to repeat some name of God, some name which is peaceful, some name which puts us in a state of love, but mostly a name of God is repeated. Now some people repeat one name, some people repeat two names, some people repeat 5 names of God. There are different traditions do different things. But this technique is very, very common as you learn meditation, and you learn the different techniques of meditation. To focus your mind on God so that you get to a state where thoughts are not going to come to you. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and it takes practice. Now we all in reality are souls, and our soul being a part of God is full of the love and light of God. All of our traditions are telling us there are 2 primal manifestations of God, that being the divine light and the divine sound. And this is why if we go to any place of worship, we'll find their symbols. We'll find either lamps to be lit, we'll find like bells or nagaras, and in churches we'll find bells, and people light candles. So every place of worship generally will have 1 or 2 of these, the 2 primal manifestations, which is the divine light and the divine sound of God. And so we can connect with the divine light and sound of God This creative power that brought creation all to being is in each and every one of us. It's a question of where we put our attention. So this creative power is reverberating within each and every one of us. But since our attention is going out into the world outside, we never realize it's there. It's just like in your homes, we all got TVs now, and you have a remote control. So there are, hundreds of channels coming. So you push the remote control, you can get a sports channel. You push the remote control, you can get a movie channel. You push the remote control, you get a news channel, or any other channel that you like. But they're all occurring concurrently. So similarly, all of the regions of existence are occurring concurrently, the physical, the astral, the causal, the supercausal, and such kind. It's a question of where our attention is. Those who want to be peaceful, those who want to be content, those who want to be joyous, our attention needs to be on God. God, which is the source of everything, God from where everything emanated. And so, as we focus our attention in that arena, then only are we going to be finding the peace and calm and tranquility within. So the key is to repeat a name of God mentally. Now as we do the repetition, what happens is our eyes are closed, so we're not going to see anything on the front. We are in a quiet area, so nothing is going to distract from the outside. In a little while, all of a sudden, right in front of us, we start to experience light. It seems like flashes of light, circles of light. Light is coming and going. The light could be of any color: golden, white, red, blue, green, any other color. To us, it looks like the light is coming and going, light is coming and going. What actually is happening is that the light of God is within each and every one of us. When we concentrate, we experience the light. When we are distracted, we experience darkness. So to us, it looks like we can see the light, we're not seeing the light. We see the light, we don't see the light. We think it's coming and going. But actually, it's a concentration, which when our concentration gets good, we get to a state of no thoughts, we experience the light. As we are unable to get to that state, our attention goes someplace else, we see darkness. So it looks like light, dark. And with time and practice, we get to a state where the light stabilizes, where we are concentrated enough that we start to experience light all the time, and then many, many other vistas open up for us. There are vistas after vistas of divine light. Sky, star, moon, sun, and many, many other vistas open up. The beauty within is a beauty which we have never experienced before. Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj, who wrote about the spiritual path, he talks about the spiritual journey. And he says, खाक से ताबा क्या कशां हमने तो जब किया सफ़र इश्क मिला कदम कदम हुस्न मिला नज़र नज़र. He says, when I traveled from the earthy to the heavenlies, I found love at every step and beauty in every glance. So the journey within is the journey of love. It's the unfoldment of God's love within each and every one of us. The love is there, we don't experience it because our attention is outside. But as we go on the journey within, we start to experience the God. It starts to fill each and every pore of our being. We start to experience beauty like we've never experienced before, because the journey within is taking us to more conscious and more conscious and more constant levels. And as we go on the spiritual journey, the joy of being there is what fulfills us. Many of us go to like oceans and beaches to see the sunsets or the sunrises. And the sunsets and the sunrises give us a lot of peace and tranquility. Because it's very peaceful, it's calm, we're by the ocean and the sun is going up or the sun is coming down. And you've never seen the sky like that before. What we see within is many, 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 many times more peaceful and calmer than any sunset or sunrise, and much more beautiful. And as we connect with this divine power within, then the connection with the divine power also eliminates the pollutants. It's the divine power of light and sound of God, which is called Shabd or Naam, or the holy word. Any connection with that divine power makes us cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. And as our mind is detoxified, we are getting to a state where layers of mind, matter, and illusion which are covering our soul are being dispelled, so that our spiritual journey, our journey on the divine, starts to unfold very, very easily for each and every one of us. And most people sit on the chair or the floor. You can even meditate if you're sick, lying down too, but closing your eyes is conducive to sleeping. So the recommended state is sitting down. As you sit, please close your eyes very gently, just like you would close them when you're going to sleep. Just make sure there's no pressure on your forehead, on your eyes, or any part of the body. So this is like concentrating within a relaxed state. Make sure your eyeballs are straight, like focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. As you close your eyes, just repeat any name of God you feel comfortable with. And if you don't believe in God, you can repeat any name which is peaceful to you, which is loving to you, which will bring calmness in your life. And as you repeat this name, just be concentrated right in front of you. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us there connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light in its effulgence. You might experience like flashes of light, circles of light. Just keep your gaze right in the middle of your experience, and with time you might be able to experience lights all stabilized and maybe many, many other vistas within. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state in the next few minutes, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. please live off. We all have lives which are calmer, peaceful, more fulfilling, and that we all are on the path to fulfill the very purpose for which we came into this world. We all, on the outside look different, but I feel that the purpose of each and every one of us is the same. And that purpose is to truly know ourselves and to know God. And this is why God has given us this human body, because the human body is called the roof and crown of all creation. And the faculties to know God have been provided in the human body. So being alive, when we got about 7 or 8 billion people now living, is a great opportunity to be able to focus on the truth, to find a connection with God, and to live lives which are calmer, peaceful, loving, and totally fulfilling. So thank you very much.